So since we talked about how to go forward, how to go backwards, how to cross over, and how to stop, now I got to teach you how to transition between forward to backwards. And we're going to do that using the eagle spread or the open book method, whichever one is your preference. So this is going to be utilizing our turn out position in our feet. We're going to start off here. Get on some sort of surface where you're not worried about rolling away. That way you can focus on your position, right? Walk your heels up a little bit more. And you want to try to get these in a straight line if you can help it, right? I'm going to turn to the side so you can see. First thing I want you to do, we're in our ready position, point your toes out and then walk your heels up to see if you can get them in a straight line. You can hold onto a wall or you can stand in a hallway and use both sides of the wall to maintain your balance. Hold onto a pole or something. You can also practice that position out of your skates. That's what I had to do in order to get that level of flexibility. So once you're here, we're just gonna hold it, all right? And I want you to treat this like a stretch. Wherever you feel the tightness is what I want you to lean into. If you feel it in this hip, then go to that hip. If you feel it here, go there. If you need to thrust out, if you need to thrust backwards, if you need to perform the stance wide, if you need to perform the stance narrow, tall, low, you want to be comfortable in all of it because these are all potential positions you could actually use while you're performing this technique. So that's your eagle spread position. I'm gonna teach you how to use that. That way you can transition to forward to back, back to front, or just as a cool trick. All right, so the first thing that we're gonna do is we skate, we scissor, and then we roll that foot around into the eagle spread, and then we stand back up, all right? Here it is again. Ready, scissor, eagle, stand back up, okay? So, all right, so let's break down what's happening. First and foremost, you'll notice that I utilize the scissor position. And this is exactly why I say these are fundamentals, because once we get going, these are all building blocks to more advanced techniques. So it's very important that we master these things along the way before we try to tackle the next challenge to prevent bad habits from forming and to also just learn at a quicker pace. Like, I know it feels slow in the moment to try to master some of these fundamentals up front, but actually you're saving yourself a lot of time and struggle and things like muscle imbalance or bad habits. So moving on, our eagle spread position, we're trying to get to this, right? And there's a couple of options for how you get there. So the way that I was demonstrating is from the scissor, and I roll my foot around, and then I end up here, and then I push off of that back leg so I can stand back up forward. For most people, standing back up forward is simple enough because you don't have to commit to that back foot. You don't have to commit to that back foot to stand back up forward. All right, there's some weight transfer there if you want to use it as a transition to turn backwards. So we're going to get there, but right now we're talking about how to go forward. My weight is going to stay on that base the entire time, right? So whether I scissor and swing this leg around, here it is again, whether I scissor and swing this leg around and then stand back up, or if I'm just here and I pivot that foot out and then I stand back, the weight is going to stay on that base the entire time, right? And so those are the options. You can roll your foot around, you can pivot your foot around on your toe or your heel, or you can scissor and roll it out on your heel. Those are some of the options. You have to find which one is most comfortable for you and then take that approach and focus on it. Full speed, the exercise I want you to do is going to be both ways. Try to find you a straightaway before we do anything on the curves, all right? And it's going to look like this. You're going to step, come back up. Eagle spread, come back up. Eagle spread, come back up. Here it is with the rolling technique. Ready? Scissor, roll, back up. Scissor, roll, back up. Okay? So, all right, so that is how you eagle spread and reset forward. Now I'm gonna show you how to use the eagle spread to turn around backwards. So we're going, ready, scissor, we roll, and then we turn around. So here it is again, I'm gonna use the pivot method. I turn my foot, turn the other foot. One way you can practice the pivot method is stepping straight to your eagle spread position while in place. So this is what that looks like. If I'm facing this way and I want an eagle spread to turn backwards, I'm just gonna pick my foot up and I'm gonna step all the way around, all right? And if this is a challenge for you, you're either doing it incorrectly or you lack the mobility or strength, which is fine. You can work on both of these things. So if you're doing it incorrectly, these are the things that I want you to pay attention to. So like, I should be able to turn this foot out 90 degrees, right? If you can't, then that's fine. That's just a slight lack of mobility, but anything past that is an extreme amount of mobility. So you should be able to turn this foot to the about 90 degrees. You should be able to turn your hip about 90 degrees out. And you should also be able to turn your body about 90 degrees. And when you put all three of those factors together, it looks like this. And you can turn and step all the way around into your eagle spread, right? Whichever way you want to go. Try those three things. Hopefully that helps. If getting to that position is still difficult, then number one, I would recommend using the scissor and roll form of the technique, because when your feet stay grounded, all you have to do is put some more of your body weight on that foot to kind of hold it in the position you just fought so hard to achieve. So this is what I mean. If I'm doing my ready scissor and I roll, and this is about as far as I can get, if I put weight on this back leg, I can at least hold that and then bring my other foot to myself. It's not a perfect 180, but you can always just course correct, right? The goal is a perfect 180 or greater, but rarely do people start off that way. So you can half commit to these steps to kind of get a feel for the motion. And then as you get more comfortable with it, start to put more weight on that foot and then turn back around. As far as the transition goes, the weight transfer goes from your original base to the foot that's traveling backwards, right? And so when you're performing this eagle spread, let's say I'm rolling this way, this foot is rolling forward, this foot is rolling backwards. If we're trying to transition backwards, I need to bring the other foot to my backwards foot. And the way that you do that is the backwards foot gets all the weight, all right? So initially the forward foot has most of the weight and we're here. Once you take that step, it transfers so you can pick up that other leg and reset. Easier said than done, because as soon as you start doing this, you're gonna be like, what the heck, KJ? And that's because this is the very first actual technical technique that you're probably gonna learn. And so you're gonna start to see that in roller skating, things need to happen in a certain sequence in order to flow and you not lose your momentum or any of your energy, for you to not fall, for everything to kind of fall in place correctly. It has to be done with some form of sequence at all times. Everything has a sequence, not necessarily a rhythm, but bonus points if you can do it on beat, but everything has a sequence. All right, so a couple more tips for people who might still be struggling with this. Some of the things that I commonly see in class is people will go for the eagle spread and then this other foot starts to turn with them, right? And if you're having a problem similar to that, you can usually fix it with two things. Number one, put more weight on that foot. Chances are you're not putting enough weight in that foot, or you're not putting enough weight in the correct place, right? Now that we understand the windshield wiper method, I know that if your foot turns like this, that means you're heavy on your heel. And the way that you would correct that is by putting more weight into your toe. So it might not be the fact that you don't have enough weight in that leg, but you're putting that weight in the wrong place, right? So that's a very minor detail that a lot of people miss. And that's one thing that can change the whole game for you. The other thing is putting your weight on your outside edges would help you maintain the course, right? If you focus on your outside edges, then 9 times out of 10, you're pretty even in your weight distribution within your actual boot, okay? And that will help you maintain a straight line, and you're gonna focus on your outer edges on that front traveling foot as well as your back traveling foot. If none of this is making any sense at all, I want you to try the open book method, all right? And the open book method is this. Think of yourself like a hardback book, right? And you're gonna have your hands like this, feet together, hands together. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna open your body, your hands, and your legs all together at the same time to perform your first step into your eagle spread. And then you're gonna close the book. You're gonna open the book, you're gonna close the book. You're gonna open the book, and close the book. So also with this open book technique, I want you to look where you go before you actually take your step, because where your head goes, your body will follow. All right, we call this concept target fixation. I learned this while I was riding motorcycles, is that when you're focused on a singular object and you're looking at it, trying to avoid it, you end up going there because that is where your attention is guiding you. That's where you're looking, because where your head goes, your body will follow. We're going to use this concept in a positive way to our advantage while we're learning how to perform this open book technique. So we're here, I'm going to open, close. I'm going to look, open, close. Look, open, close. This is really useful because focusing on the open and close takes a lot less pressure off of you having to focus on what your body is doing and what, like, it just makes sense. All right, so give that a shot. If you're still having troubles with eagle spreads and anything past that, drop a comment. I can make a totally separate video on this one because this is definitely one of the more technical, fundamental techniques. Now, I demonstrated the beginner level of the eagle spread technique. I just want to show you some of the options for how you can do this so that you can further advance and master your eagle spread technique. So number one, you can do it to the same side over and over. So you can go like this, right? And then you can go the other way, or you can go back and forth quickly in some sort of rhythm and treat it like a step with like a cross under, all right? And then the other thing that you can do is you can go into your eagle spread backwards. So this is the next level for you, is being able to step into that eagle spread while traveling backwards, all right? Much harder than it looks, all right? Then you can do it to the same side and you can roll with it if you want, or you can switch sides back and forth. You can go this way, you can go this way, all right? Open book still works here, and you can do all these different things once you master the eagle spread technique. It's super useful. You're gonna see a lot more of this eagle spread technique. This is just the beginning. So definitely focus on mastering every single form for this technique. So that is how you perform the eagle spread.